data driven framework. Okay, so as we discussed in our first framework class, okay, we I told you that I am going to construct or build a data driven framework. One second. So so what we thought, we are going to build a data driven framework. Okay, so we have decided our approach will be data driven approach. Okay, so now before going to implement data driven approach, first we need to know what is data driven approach. Okay, if I take example of login page test, okay, what we do, if I go to this login page tests, sorry, this okay, login page test. In login page test, okay, there is one test which tests the functionality of, which tests login functionality. Okay, this is login functionality. Here what we are doing, we are opening browser of our choice, then we are opening this URL, homepage URL, that is in.mail.yahoo.com. Then we are verifying that, verifying that the title is as expected. Okay, then we are clicking on sign in button. Once sign in button is clicked, then we are taken to sign in page. In sign in page, we are first looking for email field. Okay, then in email field we are filling the email, then clicking next button. Okay, then we will be taken to password field page. There we are filling password, read properties file dot get properties password. Okay, then we are clicking login button. Okay, this is our login functionality test. Okay, I'll show that in here. So first I'm opening this page. Okay, then clicking on this link or this button. Okay, I'm taken to this page. Here I'm entering email, then clicking next button. Then it is taken to pass. Here we need to enter password. Okay, I'll need to enter some password. Okay, what is the password for it? This is the password. Okay, click sign in. Okay, then your login is successful. Okay, so basically this login is little different from what we see uh, in other websites, where we find, where we see login or email field and password field in the same page and click submit button. But this is little different. I need to log out. Okay, if I go back to this page, okay, here, so there is first email field, then clicking next button, then there is password field. Okay, don't get confused with it. Okay, this is our test case. Okay, so in currently what we are doing, we just gave valid email and valid password so that our test case is successful. Okay, but when we actually test, we need to test multiple combinations. Okay, I will show you the combinations. Okay, so this is my Excel file. Here I'll show you the combinations. Suppose consider there is email field and password field in the same page. In that case, what I'll do, email password, okay, then I'll do something like expected result. Okay, here what I'll do, I'll give valid email, valid password, expected result is login successful. Then I'll give invalid. Okay, let me go with this. Valid email, invalid. Okay, I'll just say like this. Valid, 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 invalid, valid, empty. Okay, suppose empty password is also, we need to verify that also, right? Then invalid, for invalid I'll repeat all the three combinations. So invalid also I try. So for invalid mail, pass valid password, invalid password, empty password. Then empty, empty, empty. I repeat all these three. So out of these cases, only one case is valid successful, login successful. In other, okay, in all other cases, your okay. So if I make it bold and fill it with something and do this all borders. So this is my test data. So if for my login functionality, login, okay, so for my login functionality I need to verify all these combinations. Okay, so far what we did, we just able to, we implemented it in such a way that we put email and password in properties field. Okay, when we pass that, okay, then that only that will be executed. Okay, so that means at a time we can give any only one combo out of these 9 combos, right? I can give valid, valid. So this is that case. Okay, so suppose if I want to give uh, valid, invalid, here what I can do, I can make this invalid. Similarly, when I need to do valid empty, I need to do this empty. Okay, that means at a time I can give only one combination. Okay, and our test case will get executed will with only that data. But ideally, when we test all these scenarios. We not only test the positive combinations, we test negative also. Okay, so that means we should test with all 9 possible combinations of data. So we should modify our test case or our framework in such a way that the same test case gets executed against multiple combinations of test data. Okay, this approach is called as data driven approach. Okay, so far we have not implemented data driven approach. Here our test case can get executed with only one set of test data, but if you want to make it data driven, then our framework should be able to execute same login test. That means same login page test. This same test should be executed against all possible combinations of test data. Okay, this the technique of executing a test case with multiple combinations of test data is called data driven technique or data driven approach. Okay, now we are going to implement that in our test case. Okay, for that what I'll do, I'll repeat the same test again, this login page test. Okay, class I'll name it okay. So before that, in our example, since uh, email and password fields are not present in the same page, okay, so there is a restriction for us. What is the restriction? That is, suppose if I give valid and click next, it will take me to password page. But the other two combinations, that is invalid mail, if I do next, it will not take me to password field. Okay. Similarly, if I keep it empty, it will not take me to next page. So in our case, we need to slightly modify our functionality. I need to do it something like this. Okay. Uh, okay. Here, I cannot pass this data here. Okay. That means first I need to only test email field. Okay. I need to test with three combinations of data with valid email, invalid email, empty email. Okay. So only in the case of valid email, when I click next, I should be taken to next page, that is password page. So what I am doing, so our test case is not to test the entire login functionality. It is only to test the email field. Okay, so I'll split our login functionality into multiple cases. One test case is only to test the email field. Okay, for that expected result, valid. So I'll remove this. Okay. So valid, invalid, empty. Okay. So only in case of valid it should be successful. In another two cases it should be unsuccessful. Okay. So this is one test case. I'll name it email test data. Okay. That is test data for email test. Next, I'll create uh, okay. Here what I'll do, I'll put all these three. Okay, but I'll only take the example of valid. That means uh, for email field, I know if I need to go to password field, I'll be taken only when I give valid email, right? If I give valid email, then only I'll be taken to password field. So to test password field functionality, I always need to give only valid email. Okay, so I'll pass always valid email, but with password here I can check all the three combinations. Suppose with empty password, if I click sign in, this will throw error. With wrong password, if I click sign in, this will again throw error. Okay, with empty, please enter your password. Okay, so see, and if I give valid, then only it will take me to login page. So it is very simple. So I always need to give valid email in order to reach to this password field. Then with password field I can test all these functionalities. Okay, now I have split our test case into two things. One is only email data, then email field, then is only password field. Okay, so I'll show how to drive our test case through Excel. Okay, okay, first thing, here valid, that means I need to give valid email ID only. Let me fill the test data. Okay, If I go to Excel, so in case of valid, I need to actually pass the value. Okay, this is my valid email. So for invalid case, I need to I can give anything. For empty case, I'll just give it like this. Okay, and for expected result, so for me, how to verify whether the functionality is successful? Okay, so how I'll do it? Okay, what I'll do? I'll put this valid at the end. Okay, invalid, empty, and valid case. Similarly, okay, what I'll do? So I'll change this to. So how do I know whether uh, the expected our test case is successful or not? Okay, so how I am going to write the test case is, suppose, so suppose if I enter given value, that can be invalid email, empty email, or valid email. Okay, suppose in case of invalid email, so what I am going to enter is this thing itself. Okay, if I give invalid email, okay, and click next, see, sorry, we don't recognize this email. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll put it here, expected message. I'll change it to expected message. Okay, sorry, we don't recognize this email. Similarly, in case of empty email also, if I click next, it is throwing the same message. Okay, put this. But in case of valid email, okay, it's not throwing any message. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll put none or something like, okay, none, that is no message. So in my test case, I'll handle, okay, that. So before that, I need to create a new test. Okay, new class, I'll call it login page tests new. Okay, because already there is one. I'll do this. Okay, uh, wait. So far, you understood what I am trying to do, right? You understood this test data, right? So actually, I have come prepared with the test case for that, so that it won't take much time in writing the test case. And we I would like to spend uh, time on reading the data from Excel, okay, and time on creating data provider, and not on the actual test case. Okay, so here, login functionality test. This is my email field validation test. Okay, I'll name it email field validation test. Here, I'm creating email field validation test. I'll explain what I have done in this test. Okay, so what I'll do, new Chrome driver. Copy this whole stuff here. Okay, then inside test case, instead of doing this driver, new Chrome driver, I need to call this driver factory, browser factory. Okay, in this test case, what I'll do, instead of starting from here, okay, instead of uh, starting from this in.mail.yahoo.com, okay, I'll quickly start from the, okay, 1 second. Okay, this is taking me to this page, sign in page. Okay, instead of starting from here, what I'll do, I'll start from this page itself. Okay, I'll copy this. Okay, and first I'll add it to my properties file. I'll name it uh, login underscore page underscore URL that equal to this. Okay, so in my test, so first I need to do this. And driver.get, I need to get login page URL. Okay, so I am directly opening this login page URL. There I am verifying for the login page title. Sign in button, click. Then email field. So don't worry, I'll explain. Email field. Email field is not found in login page. Then in email field, I need to enter the value. Okay, uh, email. For now, I just email field dot send keys. For now, I'll hard code this. Okay, I'll just uh, do this. Okay, email. How to do that? Okay, so there is actually email field dot send keys read properties dot get email. Next button dot click. Okay, so this error message element. Okay, if you see so far what I have done, simple. First, okay, uh, so I have created object of browser factory. To that browser factory, I am passing the browser name. Read properties util dot get property browser name. What is browser name here? Browser underscore name equal to Chrome. Okay, so this browser factory, this browser factory dot get, this actually opens a Chrome browser. Okay, in that I am opening this login page URL. Okay, so once login page URL is opened. Login page URL is this URL. Okay, so directly this page is getting opened. Now I am looking for email field. Okay, so as soon as login page URL is opened, I am verifying whether the title is as expected. Okay, so what is the title? Yahoo hyphen login. Okay, so for that what I am doing is expected sign in string expected sign in page title. I am reading that from properties file. What is sign in page title? Sign in page title, that is Yahoo login. See, Yahoo login. Okay, reading from, I since I already know that expected sign in page title is this, I am putting that in properties file. Okay, then here after that to I am getting the actual sign in page title by doing driver.get title. Okay, so now I have expected sign in page title, actual sign in page title. Now I am doing an assertion on that. Assert equals expected sign in page title equal to actual sign in page title. Okay, actual and expected login titles are, I'm doing if this assertion fails, then I'll throw this message, custom error message, that is actual and expected login page titles are not matching. Okay, then what I am doing, I am creating object of this login page object repository. If I go inside this login page object repository, okay, this is the class. Okay, in here I have put all the elements present in this login page. What are those presents? Email field, next button, password field, sign in button. Okay, so email field, next button, once you click on next button you will be taken to password field. Password field, once you enter password, there is a fourth element called login button. Okay, that is sign in button. So I have put all the four here. Okay, now my since my verification needs to verify the message that is thrown here. Okay, I need to create an element for this error message also. Basically this is nothing but this is also a web element in the page. Okay, I have not yet added this element in repository. So now I'll add that element in login page object repository. Okay, if there are 10 elements present in your page, you can add all the 10 elements in your page object repository. So I'm adding new element, error message element. Okay, okay, and I need to give the proper locator for it. What is the locator? I have already, this is the locator. So by XPath, this I'll put it there. Okay, and this returns error message element. Now instead of directly using your using my web element this hard coded value in the test itself, all that I need to do is I need to use this dot get error message element. Okay, and you don't need this, it will return the error message element. Okay, so for now I am printing this error message element dot get text actually gives this value. Get text gives the text of your web element. This is the text, right? Okay, I am printing that in the console for now. Okay, then I need to do this assert equals error message element dot get text. Okay, okay, this is get text. So what I'll do, I'll create a new string actual uh, okay, so I'll do this way. So, so actually in case of valid email, you should not find this element at all. Okay, and in case of invalid email, you should find this web element and the text of your web element should be equal to this. Okay, that we need to implement in our test case. How to implement? So first I am trying to locate error message element. Okay, here what I'll do, assert not null, right? and what I want to assert the element is not null. This is it. Okay. So this error message element is not null. So what I am doing is, first I am trying to locate this error message element. Then I am asserting that that value is not null. That means that that element is present. That means that error message is present. Okay. But there is, so we have to remember that we will find this error message only in case of valid email, invalid email, or invalid cases. But in case of valid email, we don't find this. So for that, I'll write one if condition. Okay, here if, okay, I'll call it. Uh, so based on this test case, we need to, since we need to drive this test case. Okay, okay, I'll do it like this. If I'll create something like this, string expected error message. Okay, then I'll I can do two things. Okay, first I'll do this. Okay, this value can be either this, don't worry if you are not understanding it, you will easily understand. Okay, string expected error message. Okay, and there can be other possibility. What is that possibility? Error message is empty, sorry, none. Okay, it can be either this or this. I'll put it like this. Okay, this can be any one of these two combinations. So based on this expected error message, we need to, uh, our verification step gets changed accordingly. Okay, suppose if expected error message dot equals ignore case none, that means this is a valid case and your error message element should not be found. So here what I'll do, instead of asserting not null, I assert it null. Okay, that means I am asserting that this error message element is null. That means error message is not present. Okay, else if, okay, see, okay, in case of none, that is expected error message is none, that means this case none, that is the case of valid email. Okay, so when you give valid email, expected error message is none. So that's why I am asserting that that expected error message is null. That message should not be present in the page. Okay, in case of, okay, else if error message equals to this. See, there are only two possible expected messages. One this message that is same for these two, and one this none. Okay, and in this case, okay, that means the cases in which expected message is sorry we don't recognize this email, there we should look for this error message in that page. That's why I put this assert not null. Okay, not null error message element, that means this element is present in that page. Also we need to assert, assert equals, what should assert, what should we assert? Error message element dot get text should be equal to your this message, right? See, this is as simple as that. Now I don't need this. Okay. So since we need to drive our test case based on the input data or based on the data that we pass from the Excel, okay, since we know that if expected error message is this, then message element should be present in that page, okay. So we are asserting that element is not null. After that, we are also checking whether the text shown in that error message is same as what we expect, okay. For now, this we have hard coded, okay, but what we are going to do is we are going to get this value from this Excel directly, okay. Similarly, this none, right, this none also, okay. So we are going to read entire data from test case. So hope you have understood this test case, okay. Okay, here the problem is I have hard coded this value of expected error message to none, okay. So if I want to test this combination, I have to make it none, and if I want to test with the other combination, I need to enable this. But this is not we need. We need we should be able to read this expected error message from this Excel itself. With that, I am going to see you, show you now. Okay. So if you remember, when we uh, when we had test in these sessions, I have explained you data provider. Okay. So what is data provider? Data provider is a method which passes test data to your actual test line by line. Okay, suppose if you give this test data to your test data provider method, okay, this test data provider, this will read one line at a time, okay, and pass the data to your test case, okay, so that you don't need to write any explicit loops, or you don't need to handle that. All that you need to do is create a data provider which reads this data, okay, and pass the data provider to your test. So then that data provider passes one line at a time, one line of test data at a time to your actual test case, okay. So it will pass test data 9 times to your test case, so that your test case will get executed 9 times with 9 different combinations. If you give 100 here, okay, your test case will get executed with those 100 combinations that I'll show you. So what is data provider? So data provider is a method which returns a two-dimensional array of objects, okay. uh, I'll name it email field data provider, okay. So you can give any name to it, okay. Since it returns two-dimensional, we need to, okay, first I'll create object two-dimensional array. I'll create two-dimensional array. How to create two-dimensional array? Object, give it name it. I'll name it email field email test data, okay, equal to new object. We need to give the size over here. What should be the size of your array? Two-dimensional array, right? Two-dimensional array is nothing but one-dimensional array is just this one. Two-dimensional array is you have both uh, rows and columns, okay. So this complete stuff is two-dimensional array, okay. Only this stuff is one-dimensional array. So you need to give the size of this data, okay. Since so how to decide this, what should be the size of your two-dimensional array object? It's very simple. See how many possible combinations are there? Three combinations, okay. 3, right? 1, 2, 3, 3 rows of your test data. So the first dimension will be number of times your test case should get executed. That is 3 times, right? And the second dimension is number of values that you want to pass to your test case each time. Okay. So suppose when we are testing this combination, okay. So how many values we should need to pass to your actual test case? Email value, the expected message value, right? So give that data here. Okay. And so I'll add a return statement over here. Okay. So I have not yet put values into this two-dimensional object. I'll put that data now. Okay, it's very simple. Suppose if you are creating data provider for this, for a test case which has test data like this, then what should be the dimensions of your two-dimensional array? Okay, see, 9 times you need to test, right? So 2 to 9, line number 2 to 9, okay, because 9 different test data combinations are there. So the first dimension will be 9. And how many values that you need to pass each time? 3 values: email, password, and expected result. That will be 9 and 3. But in our case, it should be our test should get executed with 3 different combinations. So our first dimension is 3, and for each execution we are passing only 2 values, right? So the second dimension will be 2. Okay. Now before I actually go and create a method to read data from this Excel, I'll first hard code it in in test case, run this test. Okay. After that, once you understand how this data provider is working, then I'll implement this Excel part. Okay. So here I'll first hard code data equal to, so 0 0, since I'll first do it like this. Sorry. So first let us enter this data. Okay. So two dimensional data is nothing but this table. Okay. So if you need to visualize two dimensional array, this is how it looks. Okay. So this is row number 0. These are just headings for our reading purpose. We don't need this. Okay. We can ignore this. We can directly go and put these values in our data provider. Okay. So first, so the row number and column number of this will be 0 comma 0. Okay. Here I'll put this value. Okay. And row number 0, this will be 1. Okay. So there is a gap here, or there is an empty line over here. Okay. This is just I don't need all those stuff, right? I don't need this. So this is for readability purpose. I just put this additional line over here just to tell what is the data present in here. I just put one additional row over here, and to differentiate between input data and expected message or expected result, I just put one additional column over here. But in our actual test case, we don't need to put all this stuff. We can directly go and take the values. Okay. So that's why 0 comma 1 will be this value. Okay. Okay. What I'll do, I'll put it this way so that you'll visualize it. Okay. I'll put these two in same line. Okay. So there is semicolon. That means this is equal into different line, but just to visualize the two-dimensional array, I'm putting in this way. So row number 0, column number 0, this will be the data. Row number 0, and that means in the same row, column number 1 will be this data. Similarly, if I put it like this, row number 1, column number 0, that equal to empty. I'll put this empty. Okay, and row number 1, column number 1, that is this. So the message it's already there, and there is third combination, that is row number 2 0, row number 2 1, and this is valid email. Here I need to give that value, and the message will be none. Okay, so what I did, I put all the values that I gave here in my two-dimensional object, and I am returning that object. Okay, that means now my data provider is returning all the values. Okay, so it is returning 3 rows, and each row having 2 columns. So this is one column, this is one column. Similarly, this is one column, and this is another column, like that. Okay, so there are 3 rows that are being 3 rows present in this two-dimensional array object. That means if we pass this data provider to any test, that test will get executed 3 times. Okay, and each time, or for each instance of test execution, it passes 2 values to that. Okay, so now we are ready with our data provider. Now it's time to pass this data provider to our test. How to pass this? So this is, we need to add this here. Okay, this is first I need to annotate it as data provider. Okay, then only our test engine understands that this method is a data provider. Okay, and we need to name it. Name equal to, I'll give some name. Okay, I'll give this name, email data provider. Okay, so first we just created a data provider and gave it a name. Okay, now it's time to link this data provider to your test case. How to link? Very simple, like this. Okay, so data provider equal to email data provider. That means this data provider. That means to this test I am passing this data provider, this data provider. Okay, another important thing that we need to do is, see, now we are passing this data provider to this test case. Okay, so we need to create parameters. Okay, see, every row in our data provider has 2 columns. Okay, that means our test case should have 2 parameters. Okay, suppose there are 3 columns over here. See here, 3 columns: the email, password, and expect result. Then our test case, in that case, a test case should take 3 parameters: one for email, one for password, one for expected result. So this is very simple. See, there are 3 rows, and in each row 2 columns are there, right? So rows means number of times your test case will be executed, and columns equal to number of values that you are passing to your test case. So that means here I need to pass email and expect error message to my test case. I have added those 2 things. Now it's time to make use of these things. Okay, how to do that? See, now see, if we go here, email field.send keys, we are pulling this data from properties file. So what is there in properties file? Email, this one. Now we no longer need it because we are reading these values from Excel file. Okay, I'll comment this out. See, this is the way you comment. So if you comment, then they will not be treated as properties. Now instead, what I can do, I can pass the value over here. Okay, and similarly for error message, see, now I don't need this expected error message. Okay, So basically this expected error message. I'll change this one, right? I'll change, I'll put this name so that, okay. So I don't need to hard code it like this. Okay, see, I can simply delete it. Okay, and equals ignore case. Similarly here we can do this expected error message. Now nothing is hard coded here. Okay, I'll explain what exactly happened. See, this data provider, suppose we know that this test case will get executed 3 times because this data provider is returning 3 rows. Okay, first time it returns this row, or it passes this row of data to your test case. Okay, so what is the data? This is invalid email and this error message. Okay, so that this value comes in this parameter. Okay, and this value comes in this parameter. Okay, so your email, first it will send invalid email, right? That will come into this. Okay, now I am using that email over here. Similarly, expected error message. This message comes into this parameter. Now I am using this parameter, that parameter. Okay. If that expected error message equals none, I'm asserting this, and if it is equals to this expected error message equals ignore case is expected error message. Okay. Here. Okay. Mm, sorry. This last one we need to put it like this only. Okay. Like this. Okay, so this expected error message equals to none. Okay, if that is none, that means this is a valid case and your error message should not be present. And if expected error message equals to this, that means this. Okay, that means your error message should be present. Okay, since the error message element is present, I am getting the text of that error message and verifying it against this one. Okay, now let me run this. Okay, and running this, it will directly open login page. Okay, see, 3 times the test case got executed. Okay, if you see, if we go to this test in the result, see our test case. The same email field validation test, it got executed 3 times. Okay, the test data that we passed is shown here. First is invalid email, sorry we don't recognize. Second is empty, sorry we don't recognize. Third is this and none. Okay, it's as simple as that. All that you need to do is just create a data provider. Okay, give the values to the data provider, and in your test case pass those values or parameters. Okay, the number of uh, fields present in each data set you should pass as parameters, then make use of them in your test case. So now based on the values that are coming into the test case each time, our test case, we have written our test case logic in such a way that it verifies accordingly. Okay, see here. Okay, see, it got executed 3 times with 3 different sets of data. If you pass 100 sets of data, the test case will get executed 100 times. Okay, and so far it's clear, right? You understood what happened? I want to listen from all of you, because this is core of data driven approach. you understand this, then you know most of it. Okay, shall I continue?
Yeah.
Okay, so far you understood, right?
Yes.
Okay, now it's time to read this data from Excel file instead of this. In fact, I hard coded it to make you understand it easily. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just comment this out. Now I want to read this from Excel file. How to do that? Okay, first I'll do is I'll put this test data in configuration file. I'll consider this is also a configuration file. Okay, uh, test data, right? So I'll go inside C workspace and Selenium framework. Inside that there is conf Excel workbook. Okay, I'll name it testdata.xlsx. Okay, okay. What I'll do, I'll close this. I'll go to this folder, refresh it. See, this XLSX file is there. I open, there is data in it. Okay, so now I need to read data from this file. How to do that? So if you remember, when I explained you on how to read data from Excel files, I told you there are XLS and XLSX. Two different files are there. So I told you example of XLSX. Okay, for XLS, we need to create object of XSF HSS workbook. For reading data from XLSX, XSF workbook. This is the class. Okay. Now I am going to create the object of this class. Okay. Before that, let me see whether I have added POI to this one. POI dot o. One second. So this is POI.oxml. I need to copy this dependency. So make sure you take POI-OXML. Okay. Currently we took this one. This is not what we need. Okay, this is what we need. POI-OXML. Right. Now it will download that. See, it is downloading that POI-OXML from our internet central Maven repository. It is automatically building workspace. If you go and see your Maven dependencies, okay, there is this jar POI-OXML. Now I'll go and create XSF workbook. XSF. Okay. Test data workbook equal to new XSF workbook. See, it has multiple constructors. I'll go with this file. Since I have already created this file, all that I need to do is I need to pass that file as the argument to this constructor. New file. What is the name, location of the file? That is present in conf slash test data dot xlsx. Okay. Imports approach to clears. Okay. Now, yeah. Next thing that we need to do is what is the name of the sheet? Email test data sheet equal to, if I open this, see, so workbook refers to your complete Excel file and sheet refers to your sheets. Okay, so I want to read data from this sheet. What I will do, I will do this. Okay, here what I will do, test data workbook dot get sheet, pass the name of the sheet over here. That means it returns sheet containing or sheet with name email test data. Okay, now this sheet, it's trying to read data from that. So, okay, I'll do that in the same way that we did over here. How to do that? See, here we hard coded, right? Now instead of hard coding, what I'll do, so this is the sheet. Okay, dot get row, we need to pass the row number. So see, if we open the sheet, this is row number 0. We don't want this. This is row number 1. We want to read this data. So I'll do this, row 1, row number equal to row 1 dot get cell number, that is 0. Okay, row 1 cell 0, that is this. Okay, and we need to read this also. This is row 1 cell, this is 0 1 2, so row 1 cell 2. Okay, here so 0 0, these things won't change on the left side. Okay, so because we are filling these values into this. Okay, these values, these indices don't change. Okay, 0 1, here we need to, from first row we need to read second cell. See, get row 1, get row 1. Okay, in the first row we are reading cell 0 and cell 2. Okay, cell 0 is this, cell 2 we don't want cell 1. Okay, cell 0 cell 2. Similarly here also, row 2, cell 0. So this is row 2, cell 0. Now this is row 2, cell 2. Sorry. Lastly, okay, this is next row 3, cell 0, row 3, cell 2. Okay, we see here, get row 1, row 2, row 3. Okay, in that cell 0, cell 2. This is row 1, row 2, row 3. Cell 0 is this. Okay, this cell 2 is this. Okay, I'll save this. Okay, this is it. Okay, now I'll run this test case. Okay, what happened? Data provider mismatch. Okay, method matcher exception. Testing the should runner. Sorry, we don't recognize this email. Okay, arguments. Okay, let me run this in debug mode. Okay, H6. So email data has all the values, right? It has 3 rows. 6. Okay, I'll put my invalid email. Sorry, we don't recognize this email. Okay, what I'll do, I'll change this to, instead of keeping this empty, I'll change this to, I'll put this like this for now. Data provider mismatch. 01200 11. second. Data provider mismatch. Let me search for it in Google. Looks like the test has been done, but the okay. We'll come over here and see passing to 0, 1, 2, 0, 0. It's matching. Okay, it's working fine over here. Zero, 1, 2. Invalid email. Then, sorry, we don't recognize this email. Just hold on. Okay, here and so only thing that I did here is that I changed is see see we are passing string email and string expected error message. Okay, and so since we are expecting string values over here, so while we are actually reading data from that Excel or from each cell, we should read it as a string cell value, or we should get the string value of that cell. Okay, that's why it has thrown that error. Once I added this, it's working fine. Okay, and I'll change this to empty. See empty case, and this is valid case. Okay, this is email functionality test. Okay, so hope this is clear for you. Kalyan,
Yes.
Sridhar.
Yes, yes, sir.
So this is how we read data from Excel files. So in this case we just took example of 3 rows only.
Yes.
Okay, but if you give 100, here your test case will get executed 100 times with 100 sets of data. Suppose if there is a sign up page, if you want to create 100 accounts, all that you need to do is suppose in sign up page you need, there are 10 fields, you have 10 columns. Okay, okay, you add 10 data data for 10 fields over here, and if you want to create 100 accounts, you add 100 such rows. Okay, that means 100 rows with 10 fields each, and pass those 10 fields as a parameter to your test case. You write your test case. Okay, here you pass those 10 fields as parameters to your sign up test. Okay,
Okay.
create a data provider which reads data from that Excel. Okay, stores that in 2-dimensional data, returns that two-dimensional array of data. Okay, this data provider passes one row at a time. So since each row has 10 fields, 10 fields of data will be passed at a time. That 10 fields, you use them in your test case. Okay, use the data in your test case, and your test data provider runs your test case 100 times for each row, or for each test data set.